Hi, intrepid viewers. I thought I'd give you something different to look at. One of my artworks from the lounge room. I found an old card table, so I'm improvising yet again. These glasses are crooked, but what do you expect for $7? Now, as always, lots happening. A couple of good pieces of news. One is this woman, she was a Treasury official, and she sold confidential documents from the Mueller investigation to overseas news outlets, like lots of them. Oh, wow. But she got sprung, and she's been given a 6-month sentence. You know, better than nothing. It's something on the table, isn't it, for this sort of corrupt and bad behaviour? We're sick of seeing them all just keep walking. And let me share her name. It's Natalie Mayflower Sowers Edwards. Now, I don't think that's just my Australian accent. I think her parents have a lot to answer for. But anyway, she's with the Orange Brigade for the next 6 months. And that caught my attention, along with Governor of West Virginia, whose name is Jim Justice. Now, he's in the Trump mold. You know, he spent a great deal of his life dedicated to avoiding taxes, not paying bills, rorting subsidies for industries under his domain, all of it. But suddenly, one of the companies that he borrowed from has gone bankrupt, and now he is liable for $700 million in loans. So let's see what's going to happen to, who is he? Jim Justice, West Virginia. So I think it's part of a bigger picture. These states that have been red for so long and so forth, where you have the very wealthy and everyone else, let's hope there's going to be some sort of justice for Jim Justice. Right? We'll probably never hear his name again, but 700 million is 700 million. So will he actually have to come up with the 700 million? He's allegedly the richest man in West Virginia. Well, now he's not. Jim Justice. Oops, let's have a look. Oh, yes, the Happy Day GOP card is in battle. Oh. Yeah, look, with these cards, they just go boom and tell the story. This is the Happy Days fantasy, the fantasy GOP, right? With everyone faking it. He's suddenly embattled. He's not used to that. He's used to being the King of Pentacles, the greedy king. And he's at a crossroads, not only of having to make a decision, but of staying as the greedy king by getting out of this, or virtually losing everything. He's in intense discussions. Look, he's like all these really rich guys. They don't have conversations, right? You and I might have a conversation. They don't have conversations. They tell people what to do. They tell people to make it go away. They tell people to make it happen if they want it to happen. So they're just used to barking orders and people going, yes, sir, right? But at the moment, things are going round and round. He's not hearing what he wants to hear. I'd say this is from his financial people and legal people. So there's much more to it. He's going, what do you mean? What do you mean I have to pay 700 million? You know, make it evaporate. What do I pay you for? You know, that sort of thing. And then going, we can't actually do it. It's a thing. Right? He can't actually believe it, is what I think is going on. The Hierophant It's followed by the walking away. He could get away with it in the way they usually do, by declaring bankruptcy, right? So I can't say I'm seeing jail here. I think he will walk away, but it'll be the walk of shame, because this card actually tells his outcome, if you like, the Hierophant. Law and order is now chasing him, but he's also a government official, which is what this is about. And I think, oh, please, I think it might be bad enough that he has the governorship pulled from him, plus a bankruptcy, meaning he won't go to jail, but the combination is bad in terms of his reputation for the future. I'm sorry, I don't think that's good enough, you know. So if you're a young thing and you throw a brick through the window at Walmart, you know, you'll get a custodial sentence. And these guys just keep swanning. Yeah. But what I wanted to get to today, and I'm sorry, I'm starting 5 days late with this. I wanted to do, as you guys go into the northern summer, I wanted to do June, July, and August, little dedicated reads for each of those. And all of a sudden I woke up this morning and it's the 6th of June in Australia in a minute. So I'm going to read on the rest of June. And of course, the Yeti has announced he's coming back as president in August. It'd be hilarious if it wasn't for so many, you know, people thinking it was actually true. No, it's not going to happen. And that's going to be a real watershed too, when that doesn't happen. He'll say anything to squeeze an extra few dollars, an extra few miles, an extra few hours out of this craziness. But let's look at the USA in June. The USA in June. I'll do a different sort of spread for this. The USA for the rest of June, as it hots up, literally. The USA in June. Now, before I read these cards, intrepid viewers, I have to share something. There's a lot of fuss and kerfuffle about the idea of a vaccine passport, and Biden apparently is backing away and wants to call it a health passport or something. Now, I am not publicly wading in on the vaccination debate. That is your call. You're intelligent, educated people. You can make your own minds up about that. But I do want to say that we had vaccine passports 40 years ago. I travelled a lot in the 70s and I remember them. They were little yellow books, and if you left Australia, you had to have smallpox, yellow fever. I don't know why they thought you'd get yellow fever or cholera in London, but we had to have them. And it was no biggie. And when people complain about their privacy, I'm sorry, if you own a phone, you have no privacy. You gave it away when you bought your first phone. There is no such thing anymore. They know where you are, they know where you've been, and they know what you buy, because your data is sold routinely, which is why you buy anything and all those things will keep coming up on your feed. We've lost that debate. We've lost privacy. It doesn't exist. So the vaccine is nothing to do with privacy or no privacy. I will say that. If you want your life back and you want privacy, get rid of your phone and practice your Morse code, because there is no privacy anymore. There's nothing to protect. Nothing. They know it all. Right? And that's been the case for 5 or 10 years. This is not new. This is not vaccine related. If you have a phone, they know everything. Okay, June. Let us see. So I think it's going to be a very volatile summer. Okay. This one, oh, bless. There she is. All right. Now, what do we have here? We have intergenerational money, but we mustn't forget with Pentacles. Pentacles isn't about just money. It's about money and other resources. It's actually also about health, but not in this context. It is about money, other resources. It's about real estate, but it's also about values, what values you bring to the table, right? So this came up. I just did a reading earlier today with Diane from Diane's Tarot, and we read on Andrew Giuliani. And this is a classic. These dynastic, spoilt young sprogs who burst forth and think, well, I'm really famous. I know the best tailor in Manhattan, and I know the best restaurants to go to, and I drive a really expensive car, so I should be governor. No, pet, no. Anyway, this is talking to the bigger picture. We're talking about the nation. So this is going to be front and center. The very thinking about what is the foundation of America, because later on we have the USA card. And America has to rethink its values. And we know what the right are doing with their values. They're going to be more conservative. They're going to be more science deniers. Very soon, we'll be back to the flat earth society. They're going so far away from expert advice on public health and everything else. So this is going to be a battle for values. This may be heartbreaking for many, particularly if you're a thinking, caring person. So sorry, this isn't marvelous news first up, but only because these things are being exposed, which is why you have to protect your heart a great deal when you're dealing with these very ugly people, these very ugly ideas, and these very ugly ways of doing things. You've got to operate on a higher level. You really do. But it is, it does get you in the heart. There's no doubt that it seems like a good percentage of your nation are actually complete, naive woof-woofs, barking mad. That has to be distressing. So I acknowledge that. But you don't have to wear the broken heart. That's important. You need to find each other and to heal and be strong, because you guys need to be part of the new arrangement. This, people working together. So it's important not to get stuck in your own little mini world of video land and it's all too awful out there. It's important to connect with each other. People who understand love, who understand compassion, who understand wisdom, who are prepared to work together. It's really, really, really important you find each other, whether that's online or in person. At the moment, meaning June, what's being held hostage? Well, sanity. I don't think that's too big a statement. Everyone's sanity is being held hostage because more and more middle rank Republicans are now out QAnon advocates, So it's the biggest gaslighting in the history of the world. It's massive gaslighting. So it's really important, even though you're feeling embattled, right, to understand this is a hostage situation. But remember, with the hostage card, take a good look. This is where you feel you can't do anything, where you feel you're powerless, that it's come to this. With the 8 of Swords, the swords do not trap the woman in this figure. There's actually a gap right in front of her. She can't see with the blindfold. But these ties are very loose. She could just give a good shimmy and they'd start to fall down. She could then take off the blindfold and see that she is not a prisoner. She could just walk forward. That's the deeper message of the Eight of Swords. You will notice the water at her feet. When you see in tarot cards water and land, it's often about the unconscious or the subconscious and the conscious. It's about the immaterial and the material. It's about all those opposite things, intuition versus your everyday life. So the Eight of Swords, I feel, is very misunderstood. It's really a message about trust your intuition, loosen the bonds, and soar, my beloved ones. Okay, because this is, as I'm sure you're all aware now, the best of America. This is the American dream. This is the light that inspired people all over the world to try and get there. This is what should be up for discussion, not just rich people saying what their America's like, because it's not the same as where most of you live. Let's face it. This is the ideal of America, which is better than the sum of its parts. And by the end of June, decisions will have to be made. And the country, this card keeps coming up, because history is played out in the now. It then becomes history. So if you want the story to be different, you have to be part of the transition and the change and the improvement. So you need your energy, you need your focus, you need the courage, and you need like-minded people to work with. Okay, you can't just be passive in this time because it will roll over you, but you can find what you can do. What is it that you feel passionately about? Can you help an organization like Crew, who are for ethics in Washington or something? If you're interested on that political level, can you afford a donation, or can you afford a few hours a week to donate your time to anything that is good and wholesome and represents getting back to not only America as it was, because that was always the dream, not the reality for so many, but its potential. So what can you do? And so there's always something you can do. It might be helping kids, if you're a retired teacher, helping kids who have fallen behind with distance learning. Get in touch with your local education department. Can you offer a few hours tutoring for free a week or every 2 weeks for someone? Find a little thing to do. And if you're doing something practical, you feel better, right? So I'd like to finish on that. And by the way, I also read an update on Matt Gaetz when I was with Diane, because he's now looking at an obstruction charge. He hasn't been officially charged, but he's looking at a brand new series of charges. Love that. Okay, I wanted to share this with you. I was watching Cash Peters, the English channel. Hi, Cash. We have a lunch date at some point in the future, post-COVID. I'll either go to the UK or you can come to Australia. Okay, and he quoted a woman called Martha Beck, and she said, sometimes it's only when the roof falls in that you get to see the stars. I love that. I'll just say it again. Sometimes it's only when the roof falls in you get to see the stars. So think of this card, right? Think of this card. That's when you get to see the stars. It had to be this dramatic. I've been saying this for 4 years. It had to be this bad to clean it out, to start again. More of the same is not what you actually want. We are being helped. I genuinely believe this. We are being helped by the universe to raise our game to operate. So work towards this. Blessings. See you soon. You guys take care. Ciao, ciao.